Hi. Hello. Okay. Hi. So, I just have been reading through the latest community update for Baldur's Gate 3. So, this is just one of those we're not worthy moments, right? Like, Larian is directly responding to feedback from fans. They are creating these updates, and like this community update is succinct and to the point with every single thing. I cannot think of a single thing that has been going on in the minds of like all of the community threads and all of the other fans that I've been listening to and reading through posts of. I can't think of anything that isn't being addressed in this one post. And it's like short, sweet, to the point. Hey, we hear you. Here's what we're doing to change things. Thank you, Larian. This is amazing. This is exactly what I want to see from every game developer ever. This is good. This is the pinnacle. You are setting the bar. So let's go through this. Since launching last month, a lot of tweaks of updates have already been seen in Baldur's Gate 3, blah, blah, blah. Yes, we clearly have already released a big major patch, 1,000 bug fixes. It's all good. Stuff's great. Want to go further than that. We want to go beyond bug fixing and UX tweets. Patch 2 is just around the corner. While it does include bug fixes, also includes substantial performance improvements for the first time since launch. That's awesome. I will say that I haven't noticed any major bug or major performance issues that a lot of people are saying. I'm still kind of mid Act 3 right now. I haven't had any major performance issues. I do have a rig that is designed for being able to like stream content and stream games at its best quality. So clearly in the, I don't want to say minority of gamers who are playing this game, but definitely in sort of a group of people who would probably not be as affected by this performance issue. But so it is really cool that they're working so diligently on these performance issues, since that was a big thing that was being talked about by so many. But what I love this is, more notably, we're adding better closure to the story's final act in the form of a more fleshed out ending for Karlach. I have been seeing nothing but Karlach deserves better, justice for Karlach, justice for Minthara, blah, 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 blah posts. And just right here, they start just jumping right into it. Especially with this, where they talk about like, focus on conversation some of you have been having in the background. Many of the points that have come out of this conversation are being funneled into the umbrella term of cut content, which is amazing that they're directly referencing this, because there's Reddit threads, entire Reddit threads that are just, here is a list of every piece of cut content that data miners have found. And it's very clear that that Larian is seeing that. They're seeing that this background commentary is happening and seeing people talking about it, and it's like, oh wow, yep, they've data mined it, they figured it out, they saw it all. And instead of trying to guise it or hide it or anything like that, they're just, let's talk about that. You saw it. Let's talk. Let's chat. Performance, as we talked about, they're working on the performance in Act 3. Great. Bugs, more bug fixes, cool. Happy with that. Even today, I'm still getting bugs in my game. I just played a scene with in Act 3 where I like went to camp, and Gale, sorry, little bit of a spoiler, minor spoiler. I went to camp. I'll try not to do too much, but I went to camp and Gale started up a conversation with me, and he's like pissed at me. He's just furious at me at a decision that I apparently made, and he's like referencing a conversation that I never had, and he's pissed. I'm like, I don't know what I did, Gale. To wit, after long resting, I leave and I go and do like my next thing in town, and it's the conversation that he's referencing that I just hadn't had yet. And he, I guess, just assumed that because I was long resting instead of having that conversation, that I had made a decision. And then when I actually have that conversation, I'm like, no, obviously I'm not going to pick that route. Gale, dick, don't assume my decisions before I've made them. Ass. Go make you blow yourself up. Anyways, so yeah, there's obviously still some bugs. And they're going to be fixing them, and that's this patch probably not going to fix all the bugs, right? We're probably still going to have more bugs, but they're fixing more, and that's good. User experience. Love this. UX covers a lot of things, from how it feels to play the game, how you feel when you're playing it. Baldur's Gate 3 is a game 3 years in early access, 6 years in the making. Many of the building blocks or ideas tests, however you want to refer to the junk data that falls outside of what we shipped with, and what is being data mined. So this is referencing directly all of that basically what was in that post of cut content, and just talking directly about it. So, and they say we've seen 3 types of complaints that are being referred to as cut content. First references content that actually doesn't properly trigger because of a bug. For instance, some of Minthara's reactivity. So all of those hashtag justice for Minthara things, this is basically what they're talking about right here. We've located what's causing that and are working on it and expect for a fix for this soon. That's great to hear. This is awesome because a lot of that content, a lot of people were confused because, or at least from what I was reading, it seemed like a lot of people were confused because it's like, well, this is all in the game. We just don't know why we can't access it. It seems like it's just cut content because we can't access it. And since there's this huge list of other things that aren't in the game, it's just all assumed to be cut content. So it's nice that they're like very clearly defining, like, this is in the game. For some reason, it's not triggering. It's supposed to trigger. We're going to fix that. Great. Number 2. The epilogue. So this is awesome because this is just directly, yes, this was like something that was left out because, as they say, they felt it was dragging a bit, that they felt it wasn't the storytelling experience they wanted to give. And what's even more amazing is that they had an experience in their head that they wanted to delivered that experience, and when they were told, hey, you can do better, we can see that you tried to do better, they're like, oh, okay, we'll do better. And this is great. But clearly not everyone agrees with us, so we're going to do something about it. Great. More epilogues, more story, more stuff, more meat. That's what we like. I love it. Started expanding the epilogues, and you'll see the first results of that in patch 2 with the addition of a new optional ending with Karlach. It's fiery, poignant, and gives her the ending she deserves. This is great. Before I continue on, my first nitpick of this post, and maybe not really a nitpick, more actually that it's just something I noticed that I am kind of excited about. It talks about the first results of that, which means there's more that they want to do and more that they're going to either re-add or implement into the game, which is great. But it's not happening right away, which means it's going to happen in the future. Or at least that's how I'm reading it. And I'm assuming that's what it means. Which is awesome. And very clearly, as they are just speed running fixes and stuff to put into this game for us, the expectations are just being blown out of the water for how well they're doing. So not to say that I'm like sad that they were not getting more out of it than you know, like what that we've already gotten. It's just more like, oh, okay, so we're getting the Karlach experience now. We'll probably get more in the future, which is something to be excited for. Third is about the things we didn't actually plan for. Those were once considered, but ultimately didn't do. This is a cool one. Now, this is one of those things that because when I was first reading the cut content list, I was thinking about that. I'm like, well, maybe they just didn't want that. Like, that's always a possibility. Like, yeah, they made it, but then it just, it didn't work for them. So this kind of goes into that. Always our intention for the Upper City to be an epic cinematic epilogue, bringing the story of Baldur's Gate 3 to a close. But we didn't talk about that in advance because it would have been a major spoiler. Feel confident that there's enough content in Baldur's Gate 3 and the city itself, clocking in weeks-long playthroughs at a time, but that's not to say Baldur's 3 didn't see cuts just as every game. It's just important to know that what ultimately shipped was planned long ago in function primarily of making Baldur's Gate 3 fun to play, not for us to close development quickly. And that's important. That is incredibly important to detail and note, because a lot of people, and I think a lot of people kind of took some of this cut content as, well, they released a month early because they wanted to avoid Starfield. And because they released a month early, and because of other stuff that happened prior to release, obviously we didn't get the game that they intended. What I like about this is that they're very clearly saying, no. This took a very long time to make happen. We want this. We wanted this to happen. What you got is ultimately the vision that we had for it. So I will say that leading up to the release of Baldur's Gate 3, the interviews and the things where they talked about the upper city, and sort of, especially after seeing the list of cut content and seeing the list of things that could have been in the upper city, I feel one way, and I feel like this is more on me than on Larian, and I'm assuming that other people might agree with me or also feel this way, but it definitely felt like the upper city was more built up as this, like, and this is a thing that's going to be here that you're going to love, and we love it, and we want you to love it. And so in my mind, as we're leading up to Baldur's Gate 3 and as we're getting into it, it's like, okay, and now we're going into the upper city. And then hearing all of the people say, yeah, what happened to the upper city? We never saw it. And I'm like, oh. And then seeing the list of cut content of, here's all the things in the upper city that you didn't get. And it's like, oh, so that's not happening. I can see why people would be upset. And I can see why it kind of feels like we had this vision in our heads, and maybe we developed that vision ourselves. I certainly did. I certainly built up this whole idea in my head, sort of like if anybody watched WandaVision, getting really excited when you saw the cameo appearance of the other Quicksilver and being like, what does this mean? What does this mean? I definitely went wild with theories on what that could mean. And this kind of feels like that, where it's like, oh no, the vision that we had in mind happened. It's not the vision that you had in your head. And, well, sucks to be you, I guess. Sorry, we didn't mean for you to build up this big grand vision in your head and then it not be what you hoped. And yeah, I mean, that's on me. My bad. Sorry. So it's cool. It's cool to see them just define it and clearly say, no, we gave you what we intended to give you. Sorry. Like, so that's cool. Yeah. Then of course they go even further. That could have been the post, but no, there's more. So what can you expect of us in the future? We'll keep monitoring what bugs you encounter. Great, awesome, love it. We'll start making improvements based on feedback that you're giving us, which they're already doing. Great, thanks, awesome. And then this, Wither's Wardrobe of Wayward Friends, which we hope to launch very soon, is an example of us integrating your feedback. Feature allows you to get rid of co-op party members who join your campaign so you can continue on without them. We're also working on the ability to change your character's look once you've started a campaign. Both major things that I keep hearing about that people want. I don't do multiplayer, or at least I haven't done multiplayer. So I haven't run into the first, and then the second, I'm very happy with how my character looks, and I had no intention of changing her looks. But it is definitely something I've been seeing a lot of people talk about. I will say I would love a photo mode. That's one thing I don't see in this update that they haven't touched on at all. I don't know if they ever will, but... So I guess what I'm saying is I said at the beginning that, like, they're talking about everything. I guess they're not technically not talking about everything, but they're definitely talking about a lot. So yeah. And then this great little poster, get in my closet. I love this so much. Yeah, what a great post. I think if I had any nitpick at all, very clearly they don't have a date. They didn't give a time frame of when. They just said soon, right around the corner. They keep kind of using the same language of like, oh yeah, it's going to happen. And obviously that's not a bad thing. That's very typical. We don't want to give you a date because we don't want to commit to something that we're not 100% confident we can meet. I get it. That's perfectly fine, especially with how quickly they're doing things. Take your time. You got it. You're great. Keep being great. Keep being amazing. I guess my only nitpick about it is that, again, more just from fan feedback, we've been kind of like speculating on days when we're going to get these patches. Our speculation for the first patch was last week, and it happened last week. Amazingly, it happened last week. And I think that because the speculation is for it to for this second patch to happen this week, why it not having any sort of like specific date in this post is concerning is just because while the speculation is for this week, it gives me pause to think that it might actually be this week. And the only reason I say that is while Larian has been doing an amazing job in rolling out things as quickly as they have, they wouldn't say nothing, right? They wouldn't not give a date unless they felt 100% confidence in that. So them not giving a date means they're not 100% confident that they could do that. They have every reason to want to get it out before the PS5 launch specifically, which is why all of the speculation happens. They have every reason to want to get it out before then. Not giving a date would suggest that they're not 100% confident that they can do that, and they don't want to promise something that they can't commit to, which is good. And I would rather they do this. I would rather they do it this way. But that is kind of just another one of those things that I'm kind of noticing, and that makes me think that maybe we're not going to get it this week, which is fine. Again, keep being awesome. Keep doing the amazing job that you're doing. But yeah, that's what I think. That's how I've been feeling. How are you guys feeling about it? What have you guys gotten from this post? Are you as impressed as I am by the amazing work that they're doing? Because it's incredible. It really is incredible. Would love to talk about it with anybody who sees this. Let me know in the comments below. And for more, always subscribe, like, do the whole thing. And I'll be posting videos of my next playthrough, live streaming, very coming soon. All right. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.